In the last few years, it hasn't proved that way. But again, we're a long way from that point. I'll let you chip in here.
No, I actually think that was great what you said all around. I think in a lot of ways you can think of Panarin as Stanton. I think you can think of Loff as like Vientos on
Yeah,
the Mets, where it's like, or like a Volpe. Like I think he's had more firepower than Volpe. But Volpe, if he doesn't get that hit, the fly into center, um, in what was that, game four?
yeah.
I don't know if they win that game. So yeah, I think overall just those comparisons we could really zip around. In a lot of ways, it feels like Wells was like Kako, like he was playing really well, and now in the postseason, it's like, oh, we're still waiting for him to hit that stride in the postseason a little bit. Um,
I can see Kako as Verdugo.
Doogie, yeah,
Yeah, you see Verdugo batting ninth. You kind of see like, is he gonna play? Is he not gonna play to start the playoffs? You play him, and you kind of get, you're getting the defense is kind of similar to Kako, what you're getting with him defensively. But anything
okay.
offensively for Verdugo is like a plus more. Like it's kind of the same with Kako. If Kako chips in offensively, it's kind of a plus more on top of Trocheck and Loff and Panarin and Mika. So I
But
kind of
also, you know what? I love that, Stevo. That was great, man. No, I think what's tough is to think of like the Judge stand back to back homers. Um, but ultimately Soto comes up with that moment. And I know again, we're punting this way down the line. We've done this a lot lately here, but it's about when's that moment too. You know, Panarin's moment round one against the Penguins was euphoric, but Soto did that in the equivalent to the conference final. And I think again, there's a lot of reason to believe by how Panarin started that like, could this be the year he does it in the playoffs? But listen, I think overall, the comparisons, man, they're there. And I think the reason I'm bringing them up is because I've been saying it to every possible person that'll listen, the attendant at the gym, the person making my Chipotle. Like, if a roster construction, character issue, you could compare that to Jazz Chisholm. You could compare not character, but on ice controversy to like a Matt Rempe. Not the same player by any means, but point being, there's always going to be something.
playing Carolina. Rempe might not be a player I want to carry going into a game like that. So I think we need to learn how to use him more efficiently. Yes, he's like Aaron Judge with the strikes.
Yeah,
Strike with Aaron Judge. That's not a strike for Judge. Some of these hits on Rempe that get called for penalties. They're not penalties because of his size. But listen, we have to learn how to adjust to that. And I still think that I do think that Rempe is going to get better at that. As again, last year was such a small sample size because he was so young. I think as as his career progresses, he's going to get better at that. I think our team is going to get better at that. We're going to know. Listen, we're not going to put him in certain situations that we shouldn't put him in. Whether that's lineup based, whether that's a matchup based. It's the same revolving door. So as the season progresses, I think he is going to get better at that, and I think Blavi's going to get better at that too. So I do want to see a little bit more of Rempe. I like what I saw the other night, but I'll pitch it back over to you. What'd you see?
I love it, man. The Rempe strike zone, man. That's what I've been. It's just been that's been in my head for months. Just like it's kind of like I love that you said brought it up. Like Judge, right? It's like in the dirt, and I just think the way judges called is the same way where it's like, listen, Judge is obviously I think more comparable to like the Panarin, Zibanejad, level for the Rangers. But I think in the respect of how he's being officiated, like that's perfectly stated. Like
Give credit to it. I mean, the goaltending's been amazing.
we're just gonna keep doing this for the next 2 weeks, and I'm so excited for it. Like Soto and Shesterkin, dude. Here's the difference, though. Like Soto's at bat, dude. That was like to me, and I know I'm speaking on emotions too, like that's right up there with the Cubs winning the World Series. Like the home run for the Indians and then the eventual win by the Cubs. And the reason I say that is like it's one of those moments like You cannot believe it happened. The ball's going over the wall. I didn't think it was going. I totally blacked out. I don't even know what I was saying. I fell up the stairs because I woke my parents up, and it was a whole thing. Anyway, outside of my whole little story there and tangent. Point being, Shesterkin, man, that glove save. He was as locked in as Juan Soto saying, "You got him," right? But we saw it in the Eastern Conference Final from him. He's not the guy the Rangers need to be saying that. And I know that the contracts and his impact on the game, Soto, Shesterkin, same deal. But I think in a lot of ways, Shesterkin did have those moments, but we didn't win the conference final last year. And I think Soto capping off the victory makes all those things in hindsight look great. And I think the Yankees, frankly, there's a lot of parallels with both teams too in that respect because it's like all those moments the Rangers had kind of pale because it's like, but we didn't clinch, we didn't make it to the dance.
Mhm.
Um, right? Like think about all the almost type of classic moments we've seen from the Yankees in the last few years, but nobody views it as that because they want the championship. And I think in a lot of ways that's for the Rangers too.
Good, if you ask me. So, in terms of your question or your last point there, these things need to remain constant. I need to see Mika. I need to see Kreider. I need to see these things throughout the whole year.
All right. Now this different guys, different age groups, different impact on the game. Different types of players. Mika Glaber. And hear me out.
Ooh, yes, yeah.
Because like Glaber, there are times where we've looked and we're like, he's just like, where is that? We know it's in. Where is it? And this postseason, he hasn't been the guy that we all thought he was going to be, but we've accepted the player he is now. The player he's been for the last few seasons. And now in that more comfortable area, he's found a way to utilize his strengths. You see him always talking to the other guys in the dugout about what pitches to look at, and he's got an eye. He's got really arguably the best eye on the team. Uh, but his impact isn't the same as we thought it was and what was shown as early as when he was a rookie. Now I know that sounds a little bit like a Cacoian arc, but I do think he's kind of Zibanejad coded, dude. Like I do think that he if the Rangers can succeed with Zibanejad being like a 70-point scorer, they just have to put him in positions to succeed because he may not be the 90-point guy anymore.
I love that. You always were like great with these analogies. I mean, I think that's perfect. I mean, you look at Gleyber Torres last year. I mean, he was our best hitter on the year. I mean, if Aaron Judge wasn't out with that toe injury that he injured in Dodger Stadium, then yeah, he would probably win the best. But Gleyber Torres was the best hitter of the team last year. And then look at this year; he had a horrible year. Draw that comparison. Mika, 2022. Mika, great year. Mika next year. Mika not a great year. So the comparison there is the same. And you move Torres up to the leadoff spot. He's popping. Torres sets up Soto and Judge. Mika on the first line. If Mika performs, then you set up Panarin and Trocheck. And again, it's all cooking and busting. I love that analogy, Chaz. I think it's awesome.